Today we're going to take a look at the new pixel shift feature on the Nikon Z8. Is it legit or just hype? Stay tuned to find out. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at one of the new features in the Z8 2.0 firmware update. And it's the pixel shift shooting. This first showed up in the Nikon ZF, and it's a feature that just as a wildlife shooter, predominantly, it's not something I would normally look at. But when I start playing with landscape, I do a lot of real estate photography as well. It's something that, okay, let's have a look. Let's see what it takes. Is it worth the time and effort to do? And surprisingly, it's really effective. So basically what it is you take multiple images and essentially the IBIS shifts the sensor over. I believe it's a half pixel or a pixel. And by combining all those images, you end up with a higher megapixel or a higher quality image. So with the pixel shift, you have the option of 4, 8, 16, or 32 shots. The 4 and the 8 basically make a higher quality shot, but you're still dealing with 45 megapixels. It doesn't increase the size of the image. The 8 reduces the noise a little bit. And then you have the option of 16 and 32. So 16 and 32 will basically create a 180 megapixel image. The 16 just makes for a higher color gradient and a higher quality of image. The 32 also reduces noise, so it makes for a higher quality image all around. So what I went out, I did a quick test, and in a landscape setting, so essentially you want to make it so there's not a lot of movement in the shot. You got moving parts, it's not going to work on wildlife, stuff like that. It's going to be, if it's windy out, it's not going to be ideal. It's good for mountain photography, forest photography, where I did a test in a nice overcast day in the forest. So there's not a lot of movement, and that kind of worked out really, really well. Okay, so let's have a look at how I've configured the camera for pixel shift shooting. It's one of those features I only use it in one of my shooting banks. Obviously with wildlife, so my shooting bank A and B, which are set up more for wildlife, I don't utilize it. So I've set it up on my landscape shooting bank, which is my shooting bank C. And how I've done that is you can actually set it to a custom function button, which is great. So I've set it up with the custom function 3 button. When I press that, it sends me over to the pixel shift option. So when I'm in shooting mode, when I press the custom function 3 button, it gives me the option to go to the pixel shift shooting, which is excellent. Okay, so how I configured that is, let's just go to, okay, I'm in my custom function C here. So if you go down to controls, custom control shooting, you can see there you've got the option function 3, which is pixel shift shooting. So that's an easy way to access it. Like I say, it's not something you're going to utilize all the time, but it is really nice if you have shooting banks set up like I do. When you're out in landscape photography, you're out doing that, or architecture, that sort of stills photography, and you want to get the maximum quality out of your shots. This is a great way. Basically, you just hit function 3 and you go right into the pixel shift shooting mode. Pixel shift shooting, it's actually accessed from the photo shooting menu. Given that it's part of the new firmware update, it and auto capture right at the bottom of the list. So you basically go, you turn it on. You have the option of a series. So basically, if you're out and you're doing landscape photography and you want everything to be in pixel shift mode, you can set it to series, and then the camera is set up that you press the button, it will take the number of photos you have set up for pixel shift. Or if you just want a one-off shot, you do a single photo. So you can pick that there. Number of shots, ideally 32, like I said. So 32 gives you a 180 megapixel photo. It also reduces the noise, so overall gives you a better picture quality. If you're going to go through all the process, I would highly recommend just doing 32 shots. Delay mode, I have it set for 2 seconds, and I think this is important to do because it eliminates any camera shake. So basically it's delay on the first shot. It's not delay on every shot. So basically if you take, it's press a button, takes 2 seconds, then it takes a series of photos in a row. Interval until next shot. Ideally, I think you want this at 0. The longer the interval, the more likely you could have some noise or something happen within your scene. So ideally, I think you just want to have it every shot concurrently. If you are shooting slow shutter speed or fast shutter speed, if you're shooting at fast shutter speed, those 32 shots could be literally second and a half. You have all the shots taken, so it can be very, very quick. It's not something you have to wait around for, so it's kind of a really nice feature. The sample I did was actually, it was very low light, and it was actually a 2-second exposure for each shot, and it still worked out really well. So this kind of, the example I'm going to show is kind of a worst case scenario, really dark in the woods, long shutter speed between, and it still did a phenomenal job. And how I compared it, so what I did was I compared between the regular RAW file, just upsizing in Photoshop, just basically changing the size of the file, using gigapixel to do a 2 times upsize, and then also using the Adobe enhanced in Lightroom function. So basically I've done those options and then looked at the pixel shift, and hands down the pixel shift is better, no question. The Adobe gets close, gigapixel's not bad, but they both suffer from digital artifacts in the sharpening. And so no question that the pixel shift at 180 megapixels, it's, I'm not gonna say it's a medium format quality, but it's darn close, and it's absolutely a better, higher quality image you're gonna get out of just a 45 megapixel single shot off this camera. So if you're in that situation, you wanna print large, and you're dealing with landscape or kind of architectural type shooting, it's absolutely worth looking into. I was actually really surprised at the difference of quality and what you can actually get out of it. So from here, you just you get NX Studio from Nikon, from the Nikon website, and then all the photos get imported into that. And then there's a pixel shift setting that we'll show you on the computer here. Okay, so first off, you open up NX Studio. This software is available on the Nikon website if you don't have it. Once you have it open, you do have to import the photos into the software, similar to Lightroom. It needs to be able to find the images. Once you've got them in there, you select the 32 shots. So I've got the 32 selected here. You go up to File, and the third item down is Perform Pixel Shift Merge. So you click that. It'll give you options for which, if you've had, I've done one already. So you click, make sure it's selected for the 30 you have selected, and you click Start. This will just take a minute or two, depending on your system. So once completed, you end up with an NEFX file. What I did notice, this file, Lightroom seems to struggle with. It actually looks, it seems like it looks like at an enlarged or a cropped image of it, but Photoshop has no trouble looking at it. And there you go. Now you've got a pixel shifted 2 times enlarged image. So let's have a quick look here. We'll open up Lightroom. Okay, so let's have a look at the pixel shift shots here in Lightroom. So this is the scene, just basically a forest scene. There was virtually no wind, which is really important again. You don't want to have branches moving. Pixel shift is definitely set up for scenes with no movement. So that's definitely kind of the #1 criteria, is no movement. You could definitely use it on a waterfall setting where with a long exposure, the water you could mask in after and get all the rocks and everything around it really sharp. But for this example, we're going to be looking at a forest scene, evening shot. Actually, so each of the shots for this scene were shot at 2 seconds. So this was basically a minute of shooting in order to get the 32 shots for this shot. So if you zoom in to 100%, you can see nice sharp image, lots of detail, and this is at 45 megapixels on the Z8. Looks great. So the first example will be, we'll look at the enlargement in Photoshop alone. So this is just basically using image size and increasing it to 16,512 by 11,008, which is the pixel shift dimensions. So when you look at this shot here, this is what it looks like at 100%. And to be honest, it does a pretty decent job, but you will start noticing some digital artifacts on some of the edges of things. You know, through here, it definitely takes on a digital look where you can see there's been digital enlargement going on, but still not too bad. Not bad at all. And where you'll notice it is when we go through and we have a look at it 200%. That's when you really start to see things where the pixel shift really looks amazing. Okay, so not bad. The next in quality, I'd say, is probably is gigapixel. So this is Topaz gigapixel. And again, pretty decent job. So this is effectively a 2 times enlargement of a single RAW file. Not bad, but again, you will start to see some digital artifacting. It does look, it does look a little digital for the enlargement here. You'll see it, where you'll notice it is on the moss here. Anywhere there's bright contrast areas, you will see it a little bit. But overall, not bad. Like I said, and just to clarify, this is 1-year-old gigapixel. I haven't updated it since I first bought it. And so I know they did a big improvement recently, so it might be a little bit better. But I still don't think it's going to reach the quality of the pixel shift. Next up is the Adobe Enhanced. So this is through Lightroom using the Enhanced feature. Again, does an excellent job. You do see some digital artifacting going on there. Some of the hot spots you'll notice a little bit. But overall, still not bad. You know, this is a 2 times enlargement. Digital enlargement of the file. So overall, not bad at all. And now let's have a look at the pixel shift file. So you see, this looks really good in my eyes. So this, the leaves, everything looks like it looks like a photograph. It doesn't look like it's been digitally enlarged, which obviously it hasn't. It's kind of utilizing the sensor to gain actual pixels on the shot. So when you look at the moss here, so what we're going to do now, we're going to have a quick look at 200%, and we'll do a comparison. Let's get to 200% here. So if you look at the gigapixel, for example, we'll take a look at both of these here. And yeah, the moss down here. So you can see an obvious improvement on the pixel shift side of things. Much, much higher quality. You really see it on the mosses here. This is where you really notice it too, where this looks quite digital, where this actually looks like a proper photograph. Let's have a look at the grains on the log were excellent to give you an idea. So you can see how much more detail is captured in the pixel shift shot. You can see the veins on the leaf here are much, much clearer, where you see a lot more digital artifacts on this side. You know, the rings of the log here are obviously far, far better. A lot more detail captured in there. So we have a look at the enhanced file from Adobe. This is where you really notice it, the digital sharpening in the enlargement side of things compared to the pixel shift, which just looks awesome. It's one of those features when I first heard it, is it really going to make a big difference? And no question, if you print large, absolutely, it's worth shooting in pixel shift for the right scene. Yeah, you look at the bark detail on the pixel shift shot there. It's just excellent. It really is. And finally, here's an example of the raw file. So this is the unenlarged file, zoomed in to nearly 400%, compared to the merged pixel shift file at 200%. So it gives you a real example of just how much better the pixel shift is and how much more details actually in the file. It's quite amazing. I know it might be a little hard to actually see this on YouTube, so I will provide a link below where you can actually have a look at these images at full resolution on my website. Not be something you use every time you're out shooting, but what an amazing addition to this camera from a firmware update that was free. Kudos to Nikon. Just fantastic update. But yeah, so great new feature. Thanks to Nikon for adding new things to this already amazing camera. Stay tuned. I'll be talking video coming up soon with some of the new AF settings and how I've kind of taken advantage of them and utilized them in the camera. Till next time, see you out there.